They want to take everything from you. They want to ruin you. I mean, the evil things in this world, the spirits of this world, the things going on in this world, at times they just come after you. How do we combat that? I gotta tell you. Here we go. So therefore, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything that you are capable, that you are definitely standing. You know, I have this image of Muhammad Ali, and he's fighting in his younger years, and he has literally won the battle, and he's looking over his competitor laying on the ground, right? And I'm not so enamored by this idea that actually someone's been slain. It's just this idea that this man who has an amazing story, just like you, Muhammad Ali is no greater of a human being than you, that he was still standing. Like, and so when you look at that image, some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you are not from America and you don't see some of this culture, pop culture from back in the days. But I want you to know he was a ferocious fighter, probably the most famous man in the world. And I know my friends in Africa are heard of Muhammad Ali. He fought over there in Zimbabwe and the Thrilla of Manila and all these kind of things. And but what I'm trying to say is this image of a warrior standing over another person that he has conquered is this image of somebody still standing. And today, I think it's just going to be a highly inspirational day, because today is this day that I'm empowering you in the Word of God. I'm empowering you in the word of your own morality. I'm empowering you of your own misfitness, this wired differently thing that we have been given to us, especially unto us. We have superpowers. We have misfit powers. We have these things that God has given us and that we're supposed to be using them. And I just don't think we talk about it enough. I just don't think we think about it enough. I think we just kind of go on with our day and we just don't remember that we are special. We are special. We are wired differently. We're not like the rest of the people walking around this earth, earthlings. We have accepted Christ into our heart. We have taken on this step of hope and faith and courage in many ways, because of the way the world looks at us and the way the commitments and the way we want to live our lives. And they just want to push us away. They just want to say, oh, there goes another Christian. Oh, there goes another WD guy. Oh, there goes Todd ranting on about God. I mean, I've experienced a version of discrimination because of my aggressive behavior in my appetite for the Spirit. Created a whole mindset, mission, movement, ministry for Wired Differently, for God's gospel, for the movement. I really want to share that with you, and I want to inspire you today, because I'm very compelled, because we're knee deep. We have one day left in this message of the full armor of God. And the message I want to give you, the beauty that I want to give to you, the story at the end of the story is that we are equipped right now as we sit here to do battle with Satan, to do battle with the evil. We're to do battle with the principalities of the world that we live in, right? We come fully loaded. We're like Microsoft coming on a laptop already loaded, right? Like you're already, you buy a laptop and certain softwares are loaded in, and this one, this hard drive, this download, this software is baked in the cake, baby. It's not like we like got to go out and grab it and buy it and purchase it and tap it and swipe it, and we have it in us. And I guess that's why I'm going off this morning, is because I'm literally in my own mind thinking, what in the heck am I doing? I've told two stories now. One about seeing a billboard and looking at the wrong place. I was looking in one place for God, and I didn't think that he would ever really show up in another place. And he shows up bigger than life in another place, in a little billboard and the sunshine. He says, Todd, get ready, man. I'm everywhere. I'm not where you're always looking. I have you fully loaded, baked in the cake, ready to go, rock and roll. Let's see this thing. I've given you the armor of God. I've given you this battle suit, right, of being a misfit on this world. And I know you told the story about a guy cutting you off on the road. I know you told that story, and I know you went crazy and you gunned the car and you chased him down, and your wife said, "Stop." You are separated from God now. Your mind has went crazy. The rage, the evil spirits about you were pulling you away from God, asking you to do something cray-cray. Get it together, Todd. You are armed with the full armor of God. Don't leave that space. God made you to be a warrior, Todd, but not that kind of warrior. You've left that in the past. Well, what do you mean you left that in the past? You know, honey, when you played football, you know, when you got in a few street tussles, you're not that guy anymore. That's not the kind of warrior that I married. Well, what kind of warrior did you marry? I asked God to bring me a man of God, not a raging man. But baby, I know, but he cut me off, and I just couldn't control myself. She said, I know, honey, I know you got those problems. I loved you when you had them, and I love you when you don't have them. And when I see him, I say, stop. My man is not going to be separated from God. I will not have it. Thank you. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for seeing the Spirit. Thank you for seeing the separation of the Spirit. Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for loving me. I always do, God. And I know you will protect me. But we have special gifts. We're wired differently. We have the full armor of God, and that doesn't cause for us to separate from God. That causes for us to stay close to God. Yesterday we read Ephesians 6:12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. I'm not going to read it again today, but that is exactly what happens when we are separated from God. The evils of this world, they want to take our things. They want to ruin us. They want to pull us away from our goodness, our families, all the things that God has attached us to. They want to separate us. They want to get us alone out in the jungle, and they want to separate the weakest little child or calf from their herd, and then the hyenas swoop in, and because they got him zeroed in, and they were separated from the herd, and once they're separated from the herd, they are dead meat. God doesn't want that for us. When he's talking in Ephesians to us about armoring of our full gear, right? Armoring ourselves of the armor of God. He's talking not to me personally. I want you to take this right. He is not talking to me. Tychicus is not sharing a letter from Paul from Rome, who's in jail with soldiers that look like this. He is sending a letter to the church. He's sending it to all of us because he wants us all to stick together. We are all armored in the armor of God. It's not just Todd out there a lone wolf. He wants us all armored. And I'm going to share with you the armor that God has given us to anoint us, to give us to stay in the flock, to stay together and not be separated from God. I remember giving a speech, 2020 or something like that, to a college football team, and I was talking to them, and I was looking at them, and it was the last game they were playing on this home field before they moved into a new field. It actually was my alma mater, Manchester University. And literally as it became, I didn't know it at the time, but I ended up helping build that field and getting naming rights to that field, and in the Todd Saylor Stadium and Press Box Stadium and all that. It ended up following. But at that moment, I was on the old field where I played the game, and I was talking to these young men, and I remember looking at them, and I didn't have the armor of God in my head, but I had my warrior mindset on it. And I want you to put that warrior mindset, because it's no secret, it's no accident that the Apostle Paul has bringing warrior mentality to this message today. He brought warrior mentality message to the day 2,000 years ago. It was no mistake that he picked a Roman soldier to metaphorically give the symbols of how we're supposed to wage the war against evil. But I remember giving the speech. I remember talking to look at these men, and this was one of their last games that they're going to play. Definitely the last game they're going to play on this field. Some of them was the last game they were ever going to play as seniors in the game. And I just remember reflecting, playing on that very field myself. I remember thinking, my last game, I remember thinking, what is to become of me? I love this game so much. What's next? But this warrior mentality has never left me. But I remember sharing this, and I want to share it with you today, because I want you to understand that we are warriors. We are misfits, and we are warriors, and we have this full armor of God. Because in 6:13, God says that yes, we struggle against the sins and the evil powers. But he says, then therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And then after you do everything to stand your ground, you stand. You tower above your defeating opponent, like Muhammad Ali looking down at the warrior that he defeated, right? We still stand. And I remember looking at these athletes, and I remember thinking to myself, man, what am I going to say to these people? And I just kind of went off like a shot. And I said, this is a defining moment in your life. Right? There's only two moments in this world that you will ever understand. There are fleeting moments and there are defining moments. There are fleeting moments and there are defining moments. And fleeting moments are all these moments that happen all through the day, like a photos on your iPhone, thousands and thousands of photos that you just put there to collect for your memories. And all of a sudden you're 50 and you got 1 million photos on your phone. And these are moments, right? These are moments, but they're not in our brain. They're just there stored. And then they're called fleeting moments. So you have fleeting moments and you have defining moments. You have fleeting moments and defining moments, and all these moments that go on in your life that really don't resonate, that don't stick in your life, that don't change your life, that don't create any differently in your life. They're fleeting moments, and they're stored. And let's call the flea as seas, as the sea of fleas. They're all out there. But there are some moments in our life that are defining moments, and today's one of those. Because after you hear this, you'll always remember it. And it will change you. It will change your children. And then it will change their children. And then the children's children. Because defining moments change the world in your sphere. And what I went on to tell him is that that team over there wants to take your things. That team over there wants to take your last victory. They want to take your dignity. They want to take your soul. They want to take your heart. They want to take your season. They want to take maybe even your family and your children. They want to take your money. They want to take your success. It goes on and on and on, because those people, those spirits, that type of thing out there is real. And if we don't gird up and we don't understand that what it matters to compete, to play, to win under the spiritual warfare out there, it matters. It matters so much that Ephesians 6 is all about that. And then I challenged them. Defining moments, fleeting moments. Were we going to be lions? Or are we going to be gazelles? Are we going to face the challenge and take it head on and arm ourselves for victory? Or are we going to run? Are we lions or are we gazelles? Are we lions or are we gazelles? Are we fighters? Are we quitters? Are we fighters or are we runners? And obviously at the end of it, they said, we are lions, and we took the field, man. It was an amazing period. And you know what? Tomorrow I'll play the speech. I'll play the video. Tune in tomorrow, because I will dial that very speech in, and I will show you what the full armor of God looks like when a man is fully immersed in passion for the goodness of God and people and the story of Christ. I knew I would do this today. I was just like filling up. I was filling up last night, and I was filling up this morning, and I was just like almost in a trance, because I felt like God was going to deliver this message of inspiration to you, knowing that the full armor of God was created for you, for us to do battles against the flesh and blood, against the powers of the dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil, even in the heavenly realms. And this is no joke. This is a serious message, because I do love you as much as I can love you, possibly humanly, to almost embarrass myself. I know people pull me up. They say, oh, you see Todd go off today. Wow, he did, but he hasn't acted that way in a while. But I will tell you this, the armor of God, the misfitness that we've been drawn to, this idea that I'm called to be a wired and differently coach for you to literally understand and to grow from, to build you personally, spiritually, and profitably. This mindset, mission, movement, and ministry can't happen if we don't anoint God in our lives, and we don't open ourselves to the spiritual side of what's going on, the truth of what's going on. And so what I want to do today is, I'm not taking a mid-row. We're already 20 minutes into this, and I want to break down the full armor of God. Come on now, somebody. I've been studying it. I've been looking at it. And tomorrow's going to be a massive review. I'm going to bring the heat tomorrow too, because I really believe that we need to finish strong, because I think I danced around too much in the first 2 days. God said, you got to pick it up, bro. Stop. Let me in. Don't push me away. Use the gift I gave you of passion. Because I'm talking to you. I know you're out there listening. I know people are listening around. I know hundreds and even thousands over time listen to these messages. And I'm telling you today, you need your team of Christians. You need your wired differently people. You need your posse. You need all of them people, all of those around you, to understand that the world wants to take your things and ruin it for you. And we have been told that not only by God once, but many, many times in the Bible. And in Ephesians 6, he gives us the full armor of God and how to manage these situations. And it's not, you're not going out there and beat their ass. That is not what God is saying. Now, there was some butt kicking in the Bible, especially the Old Testament, but what I'm telling you now is the butt kicking that's going on in Ephesians 6 is to prepare us with the full armor of God, so that when the guy cuts you off and you feel the rage and you go after him, that you don't. That you use your armor of God to deal with that. That you don't separate from God to go chase hate. You'll lose. You'll lose every time. Therefore, Ephesians 6:13, therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil does come upon you, Todd, or anybody out there listening right now, I don't have my comments, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, you are still standing. Because the standing warrior is the winning warrior. It doesn't say to go attack, but to stand your ground. I would have been better served to stay in my lane, not tromp the metal, not tromp to try to get him. And I flipped him off. I literally, I said it to him. Man, my wife, oh, she was mad, man. I was separated. So here we are. We're going to really break these down tomorrow. But how? God, how am I supposed to deal with evil? God, how am I supposed to fight the wages of the evil spirits and even the heavenly realms? But God, how am I not supposed to punch back so hard, so quick? How am I supposed to do these things? Well, let me tell you in Ephesians 6:14.
Preview. Todd is not only a remarkable, successful 30-year titan in business with having multiple businesses that generate multiplied millions of dollars.
And if that plan happens to be to build $1 million company, which I can help you do.
But he's humble. He's a man of God. He's a family man.
The world's news organizations are built on everything but positivity.
He is an influential entrepreneur and business speaker for over 30 years.
I've got to forecast. I've got to pronounce. I've got to project. I've got to share with you my ideas, my vision, my goals for not only myself, but for you.
That's why he's came up with his incredible concept of taking and creating a platform for people that are wired differently.
And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are. We need to figure out who we want to be in life.
Let's take this thing out strong. I got to tell you how excited I am. The intro was great. The intro went long. The inspiration went long. But we have got to take some tactical maneuvers here. We can be inspired all we want. We can be motivated all we want. We can be the most passionate people in the world. Passion is what got me in trouble with my wife and God and chasing a road rage situation. Passion is what got me in my situation where I gave him the finger. Passion is, unharnessed passion is dangerous. Unharnessed passion is the evils and principalities taking their way with me or possibly you. So today is a defining moment. Today is how we really, really introduce, and then tomorrow we kick some tail with literally all of the armors of God. And so what I want to share with you today, stand firm then with the belt of truth buckled around your waist. with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness of that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, Paul shares with us, take up the shield of faith with which you can extinguish all flaming arrows. Now then, take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit. So in this verse 14, 15, and 16 and 17, Paul shares with us God's unique offense to fight evil in our lives, to fight those people, those things, those spirits out there that want to take your things and ruin you. Yeah, when I gave the two types of moments in this world, fleeing moments and defining moments, and I picked on the opposing football team, I treated them as evils and principalities. And I made it clear to my team that it's true that the world is made that way. And that someday they will have families. Someday they will have children. Someday they will have a little daughter. And we got to fight. Because the world wants to take what we love. Competition alone wants to take your money and your clients and your job. Somebody wants what you have because they want something better. That's just the nature of the world. But the evils and principalities are even deeper than that, because they want you ruined so you don't look at God. They want you ruined so the hope is lost. They want you ruined. The spirits are out there to defraud, to defunk you, to break you down. And the closer you become to God, the more you listen to this show, the more you study, the more you do things that are spiritually aligning you with God, the bigger the target will be on your back. And so a lot of you listen on the reg. And so if I'm not building you spiritually to fight off these spirits or to fight off these evil thoughts, the depression, the anxiety, the what ifs, if I lose my job, my money, blah, blah, all the things, that if I get cancer, it's all out there, right? And if I am not literally helping you figure out how to defend those things because I'm building you up in the spirit, I know that you're a target. And so here's what we're going to do in the closing day. So here are the 6 things, the 6 armors of God that have been given to us by God. Tychicus shares for Paul on his travels into the church of Ephesus. Remember, Paul was a Roman soldier, so he knows what a Roman soldier wore. Remember, Paul is tethered one-on-one in jail with, like they literally put a man-on-man defense with Paul in jail. He had one Roman soldier to Paul, and he followed Paul all around when he wasn't in the cell, and he was walking around. So he was, he was in, what is that called? A parole, or he had instead of having a buzzer on his leg, he had a Roman soldier following him around. And so Paul's thinking about this. I've taught you all these things, but I need you to be prepared, you misfits. You wired differently people. Come on now. I'm sending Tychicus, and I want you to be ready, because I know you're being bombarded by evil spirits and thoughts and depression in the world and everything that's going on. I know your wine's running low. I know the food is with this or that. I know that, your big screen TV's not working. I mean, they had just the same damn problems we had. It was just like in rocks and clay and dirt and sandals. And they didn't know that they didn't have an iPhone. They had no idea what they were missing, so that didn't bother them, right? So listen, losing your iPhone is just as bad as, losing a sandal back in the days, or your robe. So here's the thing. First of all, Paul shares with them, God has given us this ability to defend evil in 6 ways in a metaphor. And number 1 is stand firm with the belt of truth. So metaphorically, a Roman soldier has a belt, a breastplate, shoes. Those are the first 3 things he mentions in this: belt, breastplate, and shoes. And that's what the Roman soldier is wearing around every day. All of us need to understand, we're walking around every day. We better have our belt of truth on, We better have our breastplate of righteousness on, and we better have our shoes of the gospel ready to rock and roll, right? So that's the first three. And then the next three, he says, you better have your helmet, you better have your spear, right? And what's the last one? I got it wrote down. And you better have your spear, your helmet, and your shield of faith. So you have a breastplate, and then you have a shield. So the first one is the belt of truth. The second one is the breastplate of righteousness. The third one is the shoes of gospel. The fourth is the shield of faith. And the fifth one is the helmet, right, of salvation, right? The helmet, and then the sword of the Spirit. And so what I want to do is, if you can see a Roman soldier with the belt, the chest plate, the shoes, the shield, the helmet, and the sword. I'm going to just pick on these things right now as we bring this show to a close, because tomorrow it's going to be all on like Donkey Kong on just these 6 weapons of defense, our full armor of God. So when we talk about the belt of truth is basically this. We're going to talk about it more tomorrow. They had robes everywhere they wore around, but whenever they got ready to battle, they had to pull the robe up and they had to cinch it around their groin, their loins. They had to protect their midsection, their stomach, and their back, and they wrapped this robe around because the robe was incumbent. No loose ends whatsoever. The truth leaves no loose ends. So when you think about the belt, they create a belt out of their robe and they wrap it around their loins and they wrap it around their waist, leaving no loose ends to encumber them in a possible battle or movement or fracas. Number 2, they give us the breastplate of righteousness, this breastplate of righteousness. If you're going to be a warrior and you're going to be fighting your battles, you need to have this breastplate of righteousness. Like, you can't be an overt sinner running out there and not honoring God's word when you're going to be defending God's word. So we need a breastplate of righteousness. I want you to live as righteous as possible. I want you to understand the commandments. I want you to understand the sins. I don't want you doing things that are harmful to yourself. I don't want you doing things that are going to hurt other people. God has given us these rules, these great, beautiful rules that no religion on the world can deny, that the 10 Commandments and the goodness of certainly the New Testament and how it's laid out, how that is good for you. That is the righteousness, what I want you to live in. That's the breastplate, the belt of truth, the breastplate of righteousness, the shoes of the gospel. We must carry the breastplate, the belt, and the gospel with us everywhere we go, because the gospel of the shoes, the Romans literally put nails in their shoes. They created cleats like football shoes so they wouldn't slip in battle. They wouldn't be faltering in any ways. And the gospel is there so that we don't slip, so that we don't falter, so that we don't have these things that happen to us that shouldn't happen to us, because we're carrying the breastplate, the belt, and we have the shoes with the nails in them, and the gospel is there for our sure-footedness. Real quickly, the shield of faith, which is dipped and covered with leather and dipped in water, so that when the flaming arrows come flying out at these warriors and hit the shield, the flames go out and protect them from themselves. We have faith that the shield protects us. We have faith that God will protect us. And lastly, the helmet and the sword. The helmet is to protect our mind, our head, protect the hope that all of this is real. And last but not least, the sword. In the Greek, this sword is only 6 to 18 inches long. It's not a very long sword. It's a small defensive sword, right? For the struggle is real, because hand-to-hand combat is real. Man, I hope I inspired you today, because to me, today was, I finally, I just felt like I've been a little bit subdued. And I want you to have the full armor of God. I want you to have the full passion of Todd. I want you to have the things that I'm called to do for you in your life. So tomorrow, let's get ready to rock and roll. We're going to get in and out tomorrow. We're going to take these 6 armors of God. We're going to break them down in your life, and we're going to put them to work for you, because this day today is a defining moment. And tomorrow is going to be another defining moment. Please tell a friend to get on tomorrow. Please share these videos. Please support this mindset, mission, and ministry because it matters. Mindset, mission, ministry, and movement. These are the core principles of the Wired Differently. Mindset, mission, movement, and ministry. And I got to tell you, I want to build you spiritually, personally, and profitably or fruitfully. I got to tell you, go to wireddifferently.com and use the promo code WIRED15, WIRED15. There's amazing shirts there. Help support this mindset, mission, movement, and ministry, and all the ads that we're doing and the things that we're doing here. I really, really appreciate all your support as we grow this. Our following is growing. We're pushing 27,000. So we're doing something right. So share this, talk about it, pray about it. Heavenly Father, be with these people, be with their full armor of God. I'm just so grateful. Tomorrow, Lord, lift us up for another great day. In your name, we ask these things. Amen. I got to tell you, it's been a great time today. And tomorrow is going to be another defining moment in your life. Nicole Beck, I'll probably see you today.